Alright, you guys, after getting utterly destroyed by Doge the Noob in our quarterfinals playoff matchup, we are now out of the GLCC Season 2 Monotype Draft League, and I wanted to just end off the season with a little bit of a retrospective video to sort of talk about where I think things went wrong for me this season, because I'm gonna be real, I don't think I had a very good season. And also where things sort of started to pick up again, because I think I sort of recovered it towards the end, which was nice. This video is planned to have sort of two halves to it. The first half, I'm just going to talk about the standings and how I think I slotted in there, and maybe go over a little bit of the playoff bracket just for fun. And then the second half, I'm going to talk about my team, each of the individual members, and how well I think that they did on the team and how well I used them. So that's kind of the idea here. Hopefully I don't go on rambling for too long. This is not meant to be a very long video, so yeah, we'll see if I can manage that, but let's just go ahead and jump straight into it here. Let's go over to the standings tab here, and obviously I finished 8th in the season with 3-4 -1 diff heading into playoffs. And so realistically, I think I could have ended 7th had I won that one game against Lost Lottle, but 3-4 -1 is honestly better than where I expected to end up after like week 4, after losing like the 3 straight games there. Overall, like this entire stretch from probably around here to here in time, or I meant to highlight week 2 as well, were absolutely atrocious for me in terms of draft. And so I was just losing a ton of games, and my mentality wasn't there. Shout out to my boys, Chef, Ursulime, S-Master as well, and just everybody who sort of reached out to me, and I don't know how to really say this, but they were there for me when I was down in draft. And let's be real, I was down in draft a lot throughout this stretch. I don't think that my schedule helped me, to be frank. From week number 2 right here all the way to week number 4, I played Dracagon, Zodiac, Doge the Noob, and Nami. And if you look at the top 4 teams, those are the top 4 teams. So I played the top 4 teams back to back to back to back. And that's frankly kind of brutal. Even if they aren't necessarily type disadvantages, my team auto loses to Doge the Noob's team. My team auto loses to Dracagon's team. I think that only losing to him 1-0 in week 2 was a bit of a fluke. Zodiac, I think I could have done better. Obviously, I didn't prepare too much for that game, and I regret it now, but I was traveling, I was busy, so I know my own circumstances. And then Nami, I ended up winning with a very, very close game, so I'll take that, a bit of an upset, and yeah, I'm definitely going to be happy with that one. Outside of those 4 games, though, we also had a week 1 win up against Life's Hell, who finished in 12th, as well as what should have been a week 6 win against Lost Lottle, but it turned out to be a dub for Lost Lottle after a crit and then a flinch, which, you know, that's how it goes. I'm not too mad about it, but realistically, if I had won that game, I think that I would have been in 7th place, meaning I would have fought Dracagon instead of Doge the Noob for my round 1 opponent, which maybe that would have gone better because I didn't get entirely cleaned by him during our battle, but yeah, I'm still not too sure I would have ever won that one. And then aside from the Lost Lottle game that I should have won, we did also have a very nice victory against Clumsy Much, aka Athena, and the Miami Paris Songs, who finished in 11th on the season. So overall, I beat most of the teams that finished below me, and I lost to most of the teams that finished above me. The only team that finished above me that I did end up upsetting was Nami, and again, that was a super duper close game. That could have gone either way. And then the only time that I lost to a team that finished below me was Lost Lottle after that hacks. So in that sense, if you think about it, I had a decent season. I beat people that I was supposed to beat, and I lost to people that I was supposed to lose to. So if you think about it that way, not too bad of a season, but overall, I realistically could have done a lot better. I could have cooked for Zodiac, like I said. Maybe had I prepared slightly differently for Dracagon, I could have upset him in that matchup as well. But that's all in hindsight now. can't change it. So let's go ahead and talk about the individual Pokemon. Alright, you guys, here we are with my handy dandy stat sheet. I don't know exactly what to call it, but this is essentially just a big spreadsheet that I put every single league that I've been in, all of the stats, and I can compile them, and it'll have some formulas that'll show me like which Pokemon have done the best for me over all time, and which leagues I've done the best in, and my win rate and everything like that, which is still above 50%. Don't let the doubters tell you otherwise. But yeah, if you are interested in having a spreadsheet like this, I can maybe go ahead and link one in the description, and you can go ahead and copy it from there. Hopefully I remember to do that. I'm not sure if I will, no guarantee, but if it's down there, go ahead and copy it. Anyways though, let's just go ahead and get started with each individual Pokemon. So we'll start with Gloking, and we'll just work our way down the draft order here. Gloking, I feel like, did pretty solid. Obviously, it couldn't come to the Monotype Dark matchup, which is why it was only here for 6 games instead of 7, because realistically, this Pokemon probably comes to 7 games if I don't have a Dark or a Ghost matchup, because it's just such a good special wall. Obviously, kill-wise, it did fine. It got some kills on Dracogon's team with the Trick Room offensive set, and it probably could have forced a couple more kills throughout the season had I wanted to run more offensive sets, but I do think that the defensive value that this Slowking provided for me this season was honestly really good, and so I'm really happy with Gloking on this season. We have 12 MVP points, but again, just being defensive doesn't exactly show, it doesn't exactly appear in the MVP points, which are calculated using like the number of times that you bring the Pokemon, the number of times that it gets a kill, and then the number of times it dies will take away points. So yeah, I'm not too upset with only having 12, because I know that in my heart this Pokemon kind of popped off and it did pretty well. So happy with Slowking. Sneasler ended up getting 7 kills throughout the entire season, which ties Revavroom for number 1 on the team. Yeah, sadly I didn't have any guys break into like double digits and get super duper high on the kill leaderboard. I think that my highest was after the regular season. I think it was actually Revavroom, because Sneasler got a kill against Doge in that quarterfinals game. So I'm pretty sure it was actually Revavroom at the end of the regular season, and I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly it was like 11th or 12th, so not too far out from the top 10. But yeah, realistically, I think that if you look at the games that I won them all with different Pokemon, right? Like against Life's Hell, I won that one with Sneasler. It got like 3 kills or something like that, maybe 4, but definitely 3 at least at the very end, just cleaning up the game. If you look at Nami, I won that with Iron Moth, and so if you look at Lottle, I should have won that with Glamora. And then if you look at Athena as well, I should have won that, or rather I did win that with the Revavroom. So each of the wins came off of the back of a different Pokemon. I wasn't like necessarily a one-trick pony, which sort of feels nice to say, but yeah, overall I think that Sneasler could have popped off a little bit more, but yeah, I mean, sadly that just wasn't the case. Ended up not bringing it to 1 game. I don't remember what game that is. I think it might have been the Nice vs. Nami game. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the one that I didn't actually have the Sneasler, so yeah, not too sure why I ended up not bringing it, but we ended up winning that game anyways. Yeah, I'm really happy with Sneasler though this season. It's been really fun to experiment with unburdened Pokemon. I'm in another league as well where I have a Hawlucha that's Terra, and I'm not doing too well in that league either, but it's been really fun to use offensive Pokemon like that. I feel like, I don't know, I just have to get better with this style of team, and then I'll be able to truly unlock their full potentials. But we'll move on to number 3 here, which is Iron Moth, which finished 4-4 plus 0 diff, which I'm honestly revolted by. I can't believe that this thing did not do more, and it's my fault. It's not its fault. Other than the one time where I ran booster speed and it did 0 damage. Like, that's honestly a skill issue on Iron Moth's part. I think that booster speed was good in that matchup, and I just didn't get the calcs. So yeah, Iron Moth skill issue on that one particular case, but in every other case, like in the early games, I feel like it was kind of overshadowed by Sneasler, and it didn't really get to have its moment until week 5 up against Nami. And then yeah, obviously any one of my Pokemon could have swept Athena as well in week 7. It just happened to be Revavroom that was in position at that moment. It could have been Iron Moth, and so I could have farmed some more kills with Iron Moth there, but you know, it's fine. I just really wish that I could have showed off more this Pokemon's power. It's really, really strong. It has like absurd base special attack, like 130 or something like that, and it's also 110 speed, which is nothing to sneeze at. And when it can use a booster energy and everything like that, you know, it can definitely just spiral out of control. So I'm a little bit disappointed in myself for not doing better with it, but I'm sure that I will pick him up again and I can prove the doubters wrong. Next up we have Tentacruel, and man, talk about a disappointment, dude. I don't know. Looking back at this draft, I already have a good special wall in Slowking, and so I don't understand why I opted to draft another one. Slowking is just, in general, strictly better than Tentacruel, and yeah, I mean, water is not like the most powerful offensive type either. Tentacruel's not an offensive Pokemon even to say that, and so that's why it has a big donut in kills. Yeah, the 2 games I brought it to, it died both times, and that makes perfect sense considering I'm pretty sure I brought it to, let's see, what games did I bring it to? I think I brought it to Dragogon and Zodiac, if I remember correctly, and so it makes sense that it died there. Obviously, like, I probably brought it for Water Stab into Zodiac and then Ice Beam as well into Dracogon or something like that, just to remove hazards. But yeah, I don't think that Tentacruel really was that good of a pickup for me. Honestly, looking at the team now, I kind of wish I just built in a more offensive manner rather than having so many defensive pieces. Like, you know, I have Glowking, who's fine. I'm not saying that Glowking's the problem, but I also have Tentacruel, I also have Quillfish, I also have Pecharunt, I also have Weezing, I also have Ariados, who's not really a defensive piece, but, you know, it's kind of just there. So I think that had I just loaded up more on damage dealers, then that would have been better for me. Obviously, I wanted Grafaiai as well as a Terra Captain, but that was sniped from me, which, you know, it is what it is. I don't think that Grafaiai is necessarily a big damage dealer, but it does at least get Swords Dance, and it can pull off some prankster shenanigans, so maybe having that over Tentacruel, which, by the way, was like 12 points or something. I overpriced it. That's my fault, of course, as an owner of the league. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like having Tentacruel was very, very redundant here, and overall it showed why it could never come to most games, and when it does come, it just kind of sits there and stinks. So yeah, I'm probably not going to draft Bro again on Monotype Poison at least. Anyways, though, we'll move on to Revavroom. Revavroom was definitely in the shadow of Iron Moth, Sneasler, and Pokemon like that up until the very, very final week. It did, of course, also have a very, very important moment in the win against Nami, where we procced the Mirror Herb and we were able to get a really, really nice hit off onto the Iron Thorns. So yeah, that was good. Revavroom did really, really good for that. And then we did also have 1 kill previous to it in the Zodiac game that we ended up losing. Overall, I think that, you know, it just sort of felt redundant again to Pokemon like Sneasler, Pokemon like Iron Moth, where I already have like these offensive powerhouses. Realistically, the only reason rather that I grabbed this Pokemon was so that I could have a good Terra Captain, right? As every team in Monotype needs a good Terra Captain in order to, you know, beat types that normally it shouldn't, and stuff like that. So had I maybe utilized it a little bit less loosely and, you know, given it more opportunities to shine, then maybe it would have done well. But yeah, just realistically, it didn't get its moment until the very final game of the regular season. So either way, though, I'm pretty happy with Revavroom. I'm happy that it finally ended up doing something. So yeah, I'm pleased with it. There's nothing that I have to really say in that department. So we'll move on to Quillfish Hisui, which I don't know why the first I in Hisui is capitalized. I think that's an error on the doc's end. That's not my end, right? Because if I change this, Quillfish yeah, the drop down literally has it capitalized. So, you know, it is what it is. We ball. Slight OCD moment, but ended up going 0-3 with this guy on the season. I do think that this was still an important Pokemon. Obviously, I need a Dark type in order to not get completely soloed by a Psychic move. And I elected to pick up this guy instead of Muckalola, and I kind of stand by that. Do I stand by that? I don't know, because I feel like this Pokemon is basically just Pecharunt Light, in a sense that, you know, it's a physical wall, it has Intimidate. I thought this got Flip Turn when I drafted it, which was another selling point. It turns out that this and Overquill actually don't get Momentum, which ended up kind of being a rude awakening, if you get what I mean. So that kind of stinks. But yeah, overall, I still think that this Pokemon did okay as a Dark type. It set up a lot of spikes. It absolutely popped off in the game against Lostlotl as well. And it was able to do a lot of Pain Split shenanigans and stuff like that. So I'm not too upset with it. I just sort of regret not drafting Muckalola in its place now that I think about it more, because at least that Pokemon is like genuinely fat. Quillfish is not genuinely fat unless you give it a Eviolite. So yeah, that's kind of my take there. Anyways, moving on to Pecharunt. Dude, I love this Pokemon. Pecharunt is so freaking funny. It's annoying for the opponents, and it's really, really cool to use. Obviously, I only got 2 kills with it, but this is not meant to pick up kills this season. It's mostly meant to just be a good, solid physical wall with its 160 base defense. You heard that right. So I think that it did all right in terms of that. It was dying a lot more, I think, than it needed to, simply because I was a little bit scared of you know, choking games and stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, I can sack something and then go into my breaker and win. What do I sack? What do I sack? Oh, it's Pecharunt. I don't need it anymore because I can win. And so he kind of got the short end of the stick in that department. But yeah, very, very important Pokemon, I think, for any team if you can like realistically fit on it. Obviously, this would have done well on Monotype Ghost as well, I feel, as you need a grounded poison there, and then you have to lean on like Gengar otherwise. And I was really happy that Kai, the Monotype Ghost coach this season, let me pick this up in exchange for Gengar, because I really, really enjoyed it. Hoping that he can get to try it out soon as well for his sake, because it's a really, really fun Pokemon to use. I think that Kai would absolutely love it. So Pecharunt, man, my heart goes out to this Pokemon. I love this guy. So yeah, we'll go ahead and move on to Glimmora, who only got 2 kills this season. This is another case of, holy shit, it only got 2 kills, which is really sad. This thing also has really, really strong special attack. It has solid coverage in a sense. It's not perfect by any means, like it's missing a lot of coverage, but the coverage that it does have is pretty good. I just wish that I was not so tunnel visioned at the earlier stages of the season with like defensive Stealth Rock setting, Toxic Spike setting, Toxic using Glimmora. Obviously towards the end of the season I sort of figured it out. I ran offensive Glimmora in my last 3 games. I ran Scarf Glimmora, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember the exact Glimmora I ran up against Nami as well, but I'm pretty sure that that one had a little bit of offensive prowess as well. Was that also Scarf? Did I also Scarf Glimmora there? I might have. I don't remember though. But like the first few games of the season, I was not utilizing this as an offensive threat. And once I started to realize like, oh, this whole defensive Glimmora thing, you know, it's not working. It just gets OHKO'd by whatever ground coverage every single team has, because ground coverage is everywhere. And it doesn't like, oh no, a T-Spike went up. It would be a shame if the opponent just removed it, you know? So, like, I don't know. I feel like that I was using this guy wrong, and ultimately I paid the price. It should have picked up more than 2 kills if I was a bit smarter in the Lostlotl game, and if it didn't get crit in the Lostlotl game, it would have had 4 kills on the season. And obviously, again, it could have gotten more kills in the Athena matchup as well. It just happened that Revavroom stole that show. So, do I think that this Pokemon did alright for me this season? Yes, when I enabled it to. Other than that, though, I feel like that most of its shortcomings were due to misbuilds and misplays on my end. So sorry, Glamora. I'll be looking forward to trying you out soon in another league and hopefully doing a little bit better, because I know that this Pokemon has a really high ceiling and I just did not reach it this season. Anyways, Vileplume. This guy is a Pokemon that I want to talk about. Not because I think it was perfect this season. I will say Vileplume had some really, really strong games, and it had some stinkers too. This Pokemon feels very hit or miss. And I'm gonna say it, I wish I had Venusaur. I'm gonna say it, I wish I had like a Mungus even. I know I said that I didn't want all of these defensive pieces, but like minus Tentacruel plus a Mungus would have been heat. I would have liked that a lot. And yeah, Vileplume, like obviously it could Terra, which was a very nice reason for its 6 kills. But I don't know, I feel like I could have ran Venusaur with like an offensive chlorophyll, maybe growth set or something like that, and I could have also cooked with that. I feel like Amoonguss as well can put stuff to sleep, which allows a lot of my setup threats like Revavroom, Sneasler, Iron Moth if it's agility or something like that. I can take advantage of that. And Vileplume obviously gets sleep moves as well, but they're not as accurate. I think I went 50% on sleep powders this season with Vileplume, when that move is 75% accurate. So we're under odds on that respect, which is annoying, but it is what it is. But either way, I mean, Vileplume overall, it warmed my heart. I'm not gonna lie. This funny fellow did pretty good in the games where it decided to wake up and do good. It also, again, did pretty bad in some other games, but since we've already talked about that, focusing on the good games, it popped off against Dracogon. I think it got like 6, what the fuck am I saying? I think it got 3 of its 6 kills in that matchup. It also got 1 against Doge, and I think that it might have gotten some against Lostlotl. I think it got 2. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, that would equal 6, 3 plus 1 plus 2, so I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. But yeah, Terra, Fairy, Moonblast, hooray. Now that I know that this Pokemon has Moonblast, unlike in Season 1, I was very, very happy to give it a try. And, it succeeded when it wanted to, so pretty happy about that. And yeah, I'm really, really happy that I ended up trying this because it was, frankly, very fun to build with and very fun to use when it was doing well. So anyways, we'll move on to the Weezing here. I don't know. Weezing, I drafted because it has Levitate. That's it. I did not draft it for any other reason, if I'm being real. Like, I had Haze on Quillfish. I could Willow stuff, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the only reason why I drafted this was because of its ability in Levitate. And yeah, that's why it only came to 3 games. It's like, well, oh no, my whole team loses to ground type. What am I supposed to do? Throw on a Weezing that's just gonna drop to some other attack? I feel like I'd rather just put on another Pokemon that still loses the ground but can at least enable me offensively, So yeah, realistically, I'm not too happy with this pickup. I'm not gonna lie. I think that a Poison team should probably have it, maybe, but I know that Mountain Man, who had Poison in Season 1 of the GLCC, also did not like his Weezing, which he picked up. And so, I don't know, I'm starting to think that maybe if you're a Poison type trainer in the future in the GLCC, you pick something up over this Pokemon and you just sort of ball out. Because yeah, sure, your opponent is just gonna bring a ground move, but you're Poison type, they're gonna do it anyways. So what? So what if you don't have a switch in? Just sack something and then bring in Sneasler or Iron Moth and then win the game. It's not required, I think, that Weezing comes to every game, because it came to, let's see, what did it come to? It came to Life's Hell, which I won. It came to Athena's game, which I won, and it did nothing other than take over half from a glaive rush from Bax, which I didn't appreciate. And then it came to... what other game did I bring it? I think I brought it to my quarterfinals game. Yeah, I brought it against Doge in the quarterfinals, and it did nothing that game as well because I let the Galarian Articuno set up. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like this Pokemon just isn't as important for Poison as it would seem on paper. Now having used the type, and yeah, just realizing in retrospect that I only brought it to a couple of games and it didn't do a lot in those games. So the one kill it had was a Destiny Bond kill, so it's not even like a real like offensive kill or anything like that. Anyways, I've dogged on this Pokemon for enough. You guys get the idea. We'll move on to Ariados, who I brought against Lostlotl for one game. It didn't get a kill, but it did 70 to a Samurott, which was nice because that turns out that was like Super Duper Spadef AV Samurott that was meant to check my Iron Moth, so getting some early damage on that was actually pretty good. And then it even got the webs up and forced the Morpeko to spin, which led to Vileplume getting a couple of kills in that sequence. So overall, Ariados, as a low tier, I brought it once and it did its job in that game. I would have won that game had circumstances been different. So, you know, I think that this Pokemon provided me the utility that a one-pointer usually provides. And I'm happy that I ended up bringing it that game. It took some convincing from Wagon Fruits and from Chef in the builder, but I don't know, I kind of listened to them, and once I realized the sort of game plan that I had around like Mandibuzz for that game, where I lead the Ariados, and then if they go hard Mandibuzz, I just go Glamora, and I either get a T-Spike or I have Glamora in against a Mandibuzz. So, you know, I think that Ariados, it did fine in the one game that I decided to bring it. So that loss was not on Ariados. That is not Ariados' fault. In fact, Ariados probably enabled me to end up being in a winning position up until the fact. So I'll take it, you know. Ariados, you did fine. Good job, soldier. You can rest now. Anyways, though, that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully I didn't ramble for too long. I'm not too sure. We'll see how long this video is. As of right now as well, as I'm recording this, we are still in the quarterfinals and everything like that. So I don't know necessarily when we're gonna start up again in terms of season 3. I think that it's gonna probably be like late summer. We're definitely not gonna jump immediately into it like we did with season 2 after season 1. We're gonna take a nice break over the summer if I had to guess. So yeah, until next time, I'm not too sure when that's gonna be with the GLCC, but yeah, we do have some other stuff on the back burner in terms of content as well that I have been cooking and brainstorming about for a while now. So you'll get to see some of that coming up, and we will be doing some like summer off-season events that I may or may not record as well. So you'll see them on the channel. If you want to participate in said events, then you can also join the Discord in the description. That's the GLCC official Discord, and you can participate in there. So yeah, until whenever the next time is, I will see you all later. Oh, one more thing. Thanks for 50 subscribers. Big number go up. Hooray! Until next time though, go Seattle Slashers.